11.7, 24/7. Today, I am riding solo. My name's Noah Bieniek, and I'm going over some of the most impactful head coaching hires in the 2025 offseason. There were some bigger dominoes that fell during this year's coaching carousel, but the most impactful hire of the 2025 cycle, in my opinion, was Coach Kevin Vance taking over as the head coach at San Diego State. The Aztecs, they have a proud baseball program, one that has sent numerous players into professional baseball and has only had 7 total head coaches in their program's history that spans all the way back to 1936. And now in 2027, they will join the Pac 12. Figuratively speaking, Coach Vance, a first time head coach, he's going to get one warm up year in the 6 team Mountain West. After all, he did have a late start on the transfer portal and trying to keep together the SDSU roster since he signed his contract once Arizona was done with their Omaha run. But then after 2026, that one warm up year, it's go time in what will be one of college baseball's best conferences in the country. Coach Vance is a San Diego native. He said that his mom, an Aztec grad, worked in local news and commonly covered San Diego State baseball. He grew up going to SDSU games. Coach Vance played in the CIF championship game on campus there, and San Diego State was where he wanted to play college baseball. And then it soon became a dream job of his to be the head coach there. San Diego State conducted a national search where Steven Strasburg, Bud Black, and Tony Gwynn Jr. all had conversations with Coach Vance prior to the public announcement. Coach Vance has had numerous college baseball positions in the Northeast and also in the minor leagues. Most notably, Coach Vance spearheaded an entire philosophical change in Arizona's pitching department. In his first year with the Wildcats, Coach Vance orchestrated a huge turnaround on the mound. In 2023, prior to Coach Vance, Arizona had a 5.97 team ERA, and in 2024, in his first season, U of A finished with a 4.46 team ERA. Arizona had one of the best weekend rotations in the country that year, and in 2 seasons, he's had a total of 8 players selected in the MLB draft and counting. Soon, next year, there will be more players that he coached that will be drafted out of Arizona. So that total is only going to climb. We will see how well this hire pans out for San Diego State, but there's no doubt in my mind that this was the most impactful hire of this cycle. Mississippi State, they fired Chris Lemonis midseason. Brian O'Connor comes in from Virginia to be the new head coach. The Mississippi State athletic department was going to walk out with the crown jewel at all costs. It didn't matter if they had to personally throw roadblock signs in front of their own team in the NCAA tournament regionals last year. Hail State was going to have a new baseball regime on June 2nd, 2025, which was the day that the transfer portal opened. Brian O'Connor is a hell of a coach and has one of, if not the best current resume in the game, maybe excluding Jay Johnson, who added another national title here this season. But Brian O'Connor, over the span that he's been in it, man, he's won over 70% of the games he's coached. He's coached in the College World Series 7 times. He's developed 93 players to get selected into the MLB draft. The transfer portal and NIL era in college athletics does not intimidate the 54-year-old Omaha native, and almost his entire staff that he brought over from Virginia is committed to the deal as well. Coach O'Connor will certainly continue his strong recruiting and development skills while leading the maroon and white back to his hometown a few times, I predict, in the next decade. Virginia hired Chris Pollard away from Duke in Brian O'Connor's replacement here. Duke baseball has not been to the College World Series since 1961. Chris Pollard snapped a 55-year NCAA tournament drought and had Duke on the doorstep of Omaha 4 times in a 7-year span, but couldn't knock that door down. One of the super regional appearances was on the road at the Dish in Charlottesville for Duke, and Coach Pollard also came up short with App State in a super at Virginia, so he's well familiar with Disharoon Park. And now the Who's have a guy that is hungry because he's not been to Omaha as a head coach, and he does not start from scratch because Coach Pollard is bringing in most of his staff and 7 players with him from Duke. In 13 seasons with the Blue Devils in the ACC, Pollard owned a 420 and 296 record. The 420 coaching wins are the most in Duke's program history. Coach Pollard went to school in the Lynchburg area and considers the job a homecoming. I think Coach Pollard is a guy that might be at UVA for the long haul. So that makes this a home run hire for the Cavaliers. Before we continue on talking about some of the new places that you'll see new faces, I want to tell you that use code CWS25 at Home Field Apparel, where you can get a bunch of really cool college gear. They just went down to Tallahassee last weekend. Jack DeLongshaw was with them. They ran onto the field after the Tallahassee team, Florida State, pulled off the upset. They were 2 touchdown dogs. They end up winning the game over the Crimson Tide by 2 touchdowns. That was an electric scene. Jack DeLongshaw had a great weekend. I'm sure you can find other cool gear like this vintage Pitt jersey that I have hanging up over there at Home Field Apparel. Go check it out. You won't be let down, I promise. Corey Muscara fills in the Duke opening. Duke had dipped back into the coaching pool, specifically in the strength of pitching to fill that opening after 4 seasons as an assistant that worked directly with the pitching staff at Wake Forest. Corey Muscara lands in Durham. At Wake Forest, Tom Walter's record before Coach Muscara on staff was 323 and 308. It was only a 51.2% winning percentage. And with Coach Muscara and also, the fad of the pitching lab getting started up and really catching steam during this time, uh, Coach Muscara and the staff with the Demon Deacons went 172 and 75 in 4 years. That's a 69.6 winning percentage, which is much better than the previous 51.2% in Tom Walter's regime there. So in 2023, Wake Forest played in the College World Series for the first time since 1955, and that was Coach Muscara's second season in Winston-Salem. He was awarded the Assistant Coach of the Year because the Demon Deacons led the country in ERA and strikeouts per 9 innings. We're going to finish up with a couple of rapid hits of legends hanging it up here on this episode. Matt Sank retires after 35 years at Stony Brook. He won 12 conference titles there with 6 NCAA tournament appearances. And of course, he had the 2012 College World Series run with the Seawolves. Jim Martin has served as the associate head coach since 2017. Martin specializes in offense and player development. In 2025, the Seawolves recorded their highest batting average and on base percentage since joining the CAA. At Dartmouth, Bob Whalen retires after 35 years. He's the winningest coach at Dartmouth baseball history. Uh, at Dartmouth in baseball history, there's some English. Blake McFadden has been named the interim head coach after Whalen announced this in early July. And, McFadden was working closely with the pitchers on the staff, at Dartmouth. And, he's been wearing the green Old English D since 2016. So he will look to step in there. Big shoes to fill, but we'll see how Dartmouth does as well. Ed Service retires after 22 seasons with Creighton. 11 conference titles, 6 NCAA tournament appearances there for the Omaha legend. And former South Carolina head coach Mark Kingston served as the associate head coach this past year, where the Blue Jays won the Big East tournament and got Coach Service back to the NCAA tournament one final time. That's kind of been Kingston's strength, as he's been to the big dance as the head coach of every single place he's been at. We'll see how he does now as he returns back to the Midwest for the first time since 2014 when he was with Illinois State. And the final guy that we're going to talk about, how can we get out of here without honoring Danny Hall? He calls it a career after 32 years with Georgia Tech. He won 12 ACC titles with the Buzz Boys, 24 NCAA tournament berths with the Yellow Jackets, and 3 College World Series appearances. He was the 9th winningest head coach in college baseball history. James Ramsey was named as the associate head coach in 2021. Ramsey has been at the forefront of Georgia Tech's prolific offenses and stellar recruiting since his arrival 7 years ago. Here's a mind-blowing excerpt from the introductory article on Georgia Tech baseball's website. Uh, in 7 seasons since Ramsey's arrival on the flats as hitting coach in 2019, Georgia Tech leads the ACC in batting average, hits, doubles, OBP, OPS, and sacrifice flies, and they rank second in runs, triples, home runs, RBI, and slugging percentage. That is 10 of the most prominent offensive stats that they rank either first or second in the conference in under James Ramsey offensively. And since he took over as the Yellow Jackets recruiting coordinator following the 2019 season, Tech has landed 4 top 5 and 5 top 10 signing classes, and all 6 have ranked among the top 20 nationally. Just honestly, mind blowing excerpt there from the Georgia Tech intro article about James Ramsey becoming the next head coach there at Georgia Tech. But that's going to wrap up today's episode of 11.7 24/7. If there's a topic that you guys, the listeners and viewers, would like to hear more from us on, leave it in the YouTube comments below or hit us up on social media. We are at 11.7 on every platform, as well as myself, Noah B is 77 underscore on every platform. We will be here on YouTube throughout the offseason, providing fun college baseball banter. Do me some favors as we head out of here. Help us spread the word about 11.7 on YouTube. Tell your friends about us. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button. Your help will, one, keep our content free for consumption, but also it would allow us to keep our drive to continue providing quality and fun college baseball content throughout the offseason. With that being said, adios, amigos.